Once again, good morning. Thank you for joining for another session of Azure Power Lunch. Just want to mention once again that this call will be recorded and the recording we placed on our YouTube channel. So if you have any concern, you don't want to be recorded, you may want to drop off now. Okay, so let me share my screen. Uh, okay, so today we're going to talk about some of the blob enhancements which have recently been made into public preview around versioning and indexing. Um, so as you know that there are enhancements in Azure services almost like every day now, and we're going to discuss some of those enhancements. So this is a blurb about myself. By the way, this presentation will be available. And if you want to look for the slide deck, look for the description of the session on our YouTube channel, and you will see that uh, link for the presentation or the PDF of the presentation there. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about versioning. What is versioning? This is a kind of a very often asked feature of Azure Blobs, where um, what happens is whenever you make changes to a blob, this will create a new version. So let's say that you uploaded a blob and then you made a change to it. What will happen is um, there will be a new version created. So you will have your existing blob, and then a version 1 will be created for you in that blob. And then let's say that you made another change. The existing blob that you have will become version 2, and then you have the current blob which is that you're working on will be there. So that's how it continues to automatically maintains versions. And by the way, this is a preview feature. Just keep in mind, this is not available in all regions. Currently, as far as I know, it's available in France Central, I mean, in the French regions. So you have to, first of all, what you have to do is you have to enable this using some of the either PowerShell or CLI commands. So you go in there, you run those PowerShell or CLI commands, and then you wait for that feature to be registered. Sometime it takes 5, 10, 20 minutes. Okay. And then you will, for your subscription, and then you will refresh your resource provider. And at that point, what will happen is that you will start seeing, you will be able to kind of create a storage account and storage V2 account, and it will have in that, if you create in that particular region, it will have versioning enabled. Okay. One thing to keep in mind, versioning is a part of data protection story. It's not the entire story. Okay. So yes, what it will allow you to do is, as you are creating new versions, as you're modifying your blobs, new versions will be created. As you can see from this one, as you're modifying it, new versions are being created and things are happening. But at the same time, let's say if you delete your storage account, okay, or delete your container, that will delete the whole thing. So that's why you will have to use that in conjunction with locks. So you have to use resource locks. If you're not aware of it, search for Azure resource locks. That allows you to either a disable deletion, or you know a disable modification to existing resources. So you should use that to prevent that. Second part that I want to be kind of make sure that you aware of it is snapshots. So what is the difference between versioning and snapshots? just keep in mind that versioning is automatic. Once you turn it on, as it is turned on when you are starts creating a storage account. So we will look in the demo. It is turned on from that point on. You can turn it off, but it is once it's on, it's on. Every blob that you are creating and you're modifying, a version will be created for it. Okay, and there will be multiple versions and so on. On the other hand, snapshots, you have to do it deliberately. So you actually have to go in manually or whatever, automatically running a script or some sort. You will have to do it by yourself. It cannot be done. I mean, it doesn't. It is not done automatically. So that's a clear difference between these two. One thing I just want to caution in terms of uh, versioning is the um, is the cost optimization, and here is why. So let's say you have blobs that have been kind of being modified a lot, so you will have a lot of version created, and just keep in mind these are separate copies. There is no differential versioning happening there. So let's say only a block is changed, a new version is there that has the entire copy with only that small, you know, uh, block change. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. So if you have blobs that are changed very often, maybe you want to look at snapshots. Maybe versioning may not be a very cost effective thing for you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, moving forward. So this is how deletion impacts versioning. Okay, so when you delete a um, a particular blob um, and it has versions, the version will stay there. Okay, and the blob is gone, and you can restore those versions. So that's very important to keep thing in mind. But once again, this is not a solution for data protect, an entire solution for data protection. It and the entire solution consists of resource lock, soft delete of blobs, as well as blob versioning and snapshots. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So let's quickly go into a storage account. Let's here create a storage account. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use France Central region, and you will see that option pop up. So Europe, France Central, and let's use the users group APL demo. Okay, and I'm gonna just, so you see there is the versioning option. You will not see this option if your if your subscription is not whitelisted. And in order to whitelist it, here it is how blob versioning works. Let me just go back here. Sorry, I'm jumping between things. Come on. Okay, so basically it doesn't talk about whitelisting. I have the links here which talks about how to whitelist this thing. So give me 1 second. Yeah, so this is what I want to show you. So this is basically PowerShell. This is CLI. This is how to whitelist it and run your command. Okay, so with that, let's quickly go back here. I'm just gonna open another portal tab, And let's go to the storage account that we wanted to go to. Let it come up. So just for the sake of simplicity, I already have a storage account created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a container and I'm going to go into this folder. And this is just a, container uh, in that storage account. And then I'm going to upload a blob. Okay, so let's go in here. See. So I'm just going to upload this blob. So once I upload it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on this blob and I'm going to see how many versions it has. There are no previous version. This blob is brand new. There is nothing in there. There are no versions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to edit this blob. Okay. And I'm going to make some changes right here, add a few lines, and then I'm going to save this blob. It is now saved. Let's see what versions we have. We have now one version. And look at the date. This is the original blob. So what it does is you add the data. The new blob is the existing one that you're working on. And the previous one, which you saved last time, become the version 1. Okay, so that's very important to keep in mind. And it's like the last, it modifies the existing, make a copy of the existing one, make it the version, and then have the new one as the latest one. Okay, any questions? So let's make another modification. Let's quickly edit and let's do 1111111 and let's save it. And you will see another version pop up. So this is the one that we created. Okay, let's do one other thing. Let's go back to the blob itself again and let's delete the blob. Okay, I'm gonna delete the blob. I don't have any snapshot. I just went in and deleted the blob. What it's gonna do is, once again, so there are no blobs. Okay, when I mentioned that there are versions of the blob and things like that, where did they go? You have to click on show deleted blob. It shows 2 deleted blobs. The one, my blob, I was playing with it previously, but this is the one that we were just uploaded. If you see here, you will see 2 versions. Okay, these are the 3 versions. So basically, this is the one is the um, base version, the version one version, all the versions are here. Okay, and we can restore if we want or make them a current version. Okay, or so that's how this versioning works. Okay, so if there are no questions, we would like to move with the indexing piece. So what is indexing? Once again, indexing is also a very much requested feature which is now available. What it allows you to do is it allows you to tag the blobs, and with that tagging, there is now a built-in engine in Azure Storage which index these blob based on those tags. Okay, and you can search those blobs. So before, let's say if you want to search a blob, what you will have to do is you will have to go through all the list of the blobs and find out the right blob for you based on that particular index data. And for example, it used to work fine if you have maybe 100,000, 5,000 blobs. But if you have millions of blob, this solution is not very practical. That's where this blob indexing comes into picture and kind of makes it things very, very simple. Because what you can do is when you are uploading your blobs, you can just assign tags. And this is basically, these are called blob index tags. That's how you can categorize your data. And there is an engine behind the scene, which, so for example, let's say as you're uploading those blobs, those, and you have assigned them certain tags. When those blobs are uploaded, there is an indexing engine, which is kind of indexing the blob based on those tags. And whenever you run a query on top of it based on those tags, it will return those blobs to you. So it is as simple as it is, as this shows. So this really solves the issue of kind of categorizing your blob data in a kind of a very elegant fashion where you have now these indexes, so you can upload this stuff and upload those blob with those index tags, and then search based on those tags as well. One thing to keep in mind, once again, this is in preview, and it is also same region um, that it was in preview um, for versioning. Same regions are applicable here, so it's also available in the same regions as well. And you have to follow the same procedure. What you have to do is you have to go in and you have to register in the preview, and it takes some time for your subscription to be registered, and then you have to refresh your storage provider so it can pick up that whitelisting. And then once you create a storage account in that particular region, um, in like this France Central or South, whatever that is, then you should be able to enable indexing. I mean, do the indexing and tagging on your blob storage accounts. Okay. Any questions? So let's go in here. Oh, by the way, on the data versioning side, I just want to show you one other thing. Um, let's say if you want to disable versioning, let's say you enabled versioning and then you realize, oh my God, I don't think that's a very good idea, or I want to disable it. You can disable versioning here on the data protection tab. Go in here, it's enable soft delete, and or you can also enable disable versioning here. So you can enable and disable it from that data protection tab. Sorry for jumping back and forth, but just want to show you, make sure everybody is aware of it. So let's go back there to the containers. Okay, so I have this data index container, and it have hundreds of blobs here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna search uh, for certain blobs. Okay? And in this case, I have set certain tags on the blobs. So if I go in here and I look at the blob properties, you see all the properties are there: last modified, creation time, blah, blah, blah. But then these are something new. There's a metadata and then blob index tags. Look at this: content trace, date is this, owner this, seal this. So these are all the attributes that I have set. Okay, and these are the attributes that I can do my searching on, and I can do and or, and I can do ranges. So there are kind of very sophisticated stuff that I can do. So for example, let's say if I want to do like content is equal to trace. So let's say how I will do my search. So I'm gonna do add filter. Let's just get out of there, and I'm going to do add filter. Here, what I can do is I can set up my search based on, and these are the index tags. So once I set my search based on that, it's going to search and find out all the tags which have this. So this is the only blob that has this tag, so it's gonna show me this particular blob. At the same time, let's say we go to uh, a random blob and let's say we add a new tag to it and we call it APL and we call session and we call it APL. So we set that value and we saved it, saved the blob, and now we know that we have a, so once again we can do a filter session equal to APL. See, so point is, I know it's a very simplistic example, but the point is that you can go in, you can set these properties of these blobs, or set these index tag to these blobs, and then you can search based on them. So as you are storing millions of blob, and that is specifically true if you are using very small, I mean, smaller files, or doesn't matter. I mean, a large number of blobs, and you have to categorize those blobs, search those blobs. So instead of each time enumerating through the entire list of blobs, you can do categorization and then search blobs based on that. And not only that, this thing, I mean, this data indexing is ingrained into the kind of foundation of Azure Blob Storage. So, for example, I'm sure everybody is aware of the life cycle management of Blob service. With life cycle management, what you can do is you can add rules that, once these blob are in, move the blob, once these blobs are not used for like 10 days, move them into cold storage. And once those blobs are kind of 10 days after they're not modified in cold storage, move them into archival storage and then delete them or delete snapshot, all these things, now you can set another thing called filter set. And in that filter set, basically, previously it was just you can do prefix match. Okay. Now it's smarter. Now you can do index match as well. Okay. And you can set up your indexes. So you can say, for example, session, sorry, session equal to APL, and then so that's kind of one of your filter. So you can, of course, you can do actions and you can do filter. So let's say you have some blobs which have trace data, okay, and they were there for reviewing, and you know that after 2 weeks you always have a new build, so that trace data is not valid anymore. So what you can do is you can say that all the blob which have kind of data is equal to trace. Um, After 14 days, move them to cold storage or delete them, whatever. So these are the things that you can do. Um, Now you have another variable that you can use, which is um, index tags. So that's kind of make your search efficient, make things simpler for you as you are using that for the lifecycle management. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So let's quickly. Once again, the rules are, as I said, it's also in preview. What you will have to do is you will have to, in order to enable it, you will have to, use PowerShell or CLI to set it up, and then, then go from there. Uh, you have to wait for the registration to complete, and then once it's registered, you have to refresh your provider, and then you go from there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. One last time, any questions, comments, feedback? Okey-doke. Um, so once again, thank you very much for everyone for joining this session. And as I said, this session video and the link to the um, our PDF of this presentation will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And looking forward to see everyone in our um, next Azure Power Lunch session. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you.